Okay, I'm watching the second GOP debate on Fox News because one of us has to do it. And they are opening with like a montage. It's a love letter to Ronald Reagan. Each of the characters are getting like turn to camera characters, the candidates. They're getting like Real Housewives turn to camera moments. Or maybe like video game choose your fighter. Okay, they open with being like, can you talk about the economy and the strikes, like particularly Joe Biden on the UAW picket lines? And Tim Scott was like, yeah, I can definitely talk about that. The thing that we need to do is finish the border wall. We've now had two different mentions of why we should be afraid of China and how the Democrats are pro-Beijing or whatever, which I don't know, it's all feeling very politics of my childhood. Okay, Chris Christie, 15 minutes in, the first person to do it was like Donald Trump. He put $7 trillion on the debt and he should be here to talk about it. And then Mike Pence was like, can I speak to that? And I'm honestly not sure if it's because he wanted to like defend the policy decisions of his administration or because he wanted to say that first and now he's not getting to. But either way, I'm not sure because they didn't let him speak on that. Ron DeSantis was just like, we have to stop China from overtaking America in the next 10 years. And it's like, am I 12 again? Are we back? Vivek Ramaswamy was just like, how could I possibly raise children who follow the law in a country with illegal immigrants? Chris Christie just talked past the fourth wall into the camera directly at Donald Trump. I'm at home visiting my mother's house and she's watching the debate in the living room, not in here, so that she doesn't have to listen to me talking to you guys all night. But I do have some commentary from her. What did Mike Pence do?
He tried to make a joke.
Joke?
He said that he served in Congress for 12 years, and then he said, but it felt like a lot longer. And then he did that pause like I made a joke, but nobody laughed.
They asked Nikki Haley to talk about crime, and she was like, you know what? I do. I hate crime, but what I really hate is China. They asked Vivek Ramaswamy how he's going to solve the fentanyl problem, and he was like, don't worry, I'm just going to get kids off social media. They just asked Mike Pence if he would be able to repeal Obamacare if he became president, and he was like, you know what I would do is I would make sure that anybody involved in a mass shooting immediately gets the death penalty. And the blonde moderator was like, does that mean Obamacare is here to stay? Which was the best line of the night so far. They asked Ron DeSantis about the millions of uninsured people in Florida and like if we could trust him on healthcare because of that. And he said, Florida is a very dynamic state. And then he also said that what we have to do is like empower the doctor-patient relationship. And then Nikki Haley said we have to put the patient in the driver's seat, which is all very interesting coming from anti-choice candidates. They asked Doug Bergman if he thinks that transgender kids should have rights. And he said that because he's a business leader, he would make a much better presidential candidate than all these like old school politicians. Mike Pence did another joke. They were all like criticizing Joe Biden for sleeping with a teacher because Joe Biden is a teacher. And then Mike Pence said that he too had been sleeping with a teacher for the last 38 years and like, it got a little giggle. They're talking about TikTok. They asked Vivek Ramaswamy if he could be trusted because like, you know, he uses TikTok and he said that he has to because the Republican Party needs it to win elections, but he'll like totally get rid of it once elections are over because it's collecting a dangerous amount of data and there's definitely no other apps that do that. And then Nikki Haley was like, we need to ban it now because it's evil. And definitely not because she's like absolutely uninterested in having to learn a new skill. They threatened to cut Doug Burgum's mic because he keeps interrupting, because he's not getting the attention that he so craves. They asked Ron DeSantis about student debt, and he was like, honestly, the real problem is gender studies programs, but I do have like a 9/11 bit that I've practiced, and I'd like to do it now. The moderators were like, Tim Scott and Nikki Haley, you're both from South Carolina. Would you guys like to fight about that? And they were like, yes, we would love to fight about that. Ron DeSantis just said that the Democratic Party in Florida lies in ruins, which I don't know if he can personally take credit for that, but that line kind of Shakespearean. They asked both Chris Christie and Ron DeSantis what they were going to do about the fact that like anti-choice candidates and policies just aren't winning elections at this moment in time. And both of them were like, yeah, it's not really going to be a problem. I can do it. I just can. In the final moments of the debate, the moderators decided to finally address the Donald Trump of it all. And they were like, what are you guys going to do about the fact that mathematically none of you can win in the primary right now? And then they asked the candidates to write down the name of the other person on the stage that they thought should be voted off the island. And none of them did it. They like all refused. But Ron DeSantis was essentially just like, I should be president. I would make a better president. And so the numbers don't matter. I should be president. And then Chris Christie was like, I vote Donald Trump off the island. He should just quit. If we ask nicely, maybe he'll just stop running. And then Vivek Ramaswamy looked directly at the audience and sort of pled with them. He was like, get behind me. Like, I'm looking at you through the camera. Just vote for me, please.